Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
A swing and a drive to deep right, away back, goal! What? Cleveland! This is for you!
Touchdown, Ohio State. And Curry has to back off as James throws it down.
Miller is loose, spin move! Miller headed for the end zone!
Off initially, he's going to take a shot. Has some man under it. Has his man Kaiser. Perfectly thrown pass to Gordon. Touchdown, Cleveland.
All right, guys, welcome on into another edition of the Real Sports Talk Show. Once again, Paul here, and we once again have Kevin Rosser here. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Paul.
We are jumping into a little bit of some pre-draft talk with your Cleveland Browns. The Browns, once again, everybody knows we're coming off a season. We didn't win one game. We have the number 1 overall draft pick. We have the number 4 draft pick. And we don't know who our quarterback is. We don't know if we're signing quarterback. We don't know if we're drafting one. What do you want to do, Rosser? Because I've already kind of told these people what I want to do. And honestly, I think they're kind of tired of hearing the same stuff. So maybe you got a little bit different. Maybe you got some actual really good ideas, which this is why we brought you on. So this is why we're paying you the big money. What are you doing if you're the Cleveland Browns? 1st overall and the 4th overall. What are you doing?
It really does depend all on Kirk Cousins. What is his mindset? And we don't even know for sure whether the Redskins are going to want to let him go.
Yeah, they were talking about franchise tagging him, which would be a dick move if they did that.
That would be the ultimate Redskins move. But keep in mind, he doesn't have to sign that tag either.
He does not.
It makes absolutely no sense for him to sign that tag if the Alex Smith trade goes through. Which, keep in mind,
has not fully gone through yet.
The trades are not official until March 12th.
Exactly. So we still got time until it goes through. Now, are you backing up the truck and dumping a shitload of money at Kirk Cousins? Are you going out getting another quarterback? Are you going out and drafting a quarterback? Or do you feel good in Deshaun Kaiser?
Jeez, that's a lot to unload. I think for sure, whether you draft a quarterback number 1 or not, you cannot end this offseason without acquiring a veteran quarterback.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that. That was, to me, the biggest thing missing with the Browns last year, and the biggest difference why they won one game in 2016 and they didn't win a single one in 2017. Kaiser, he is a raw talent.
Correct.
But he is a talent nonetheless. If he is molded correctly, if he has the right guys around him, yes, he has some accuracy issues. He does have trouble holding on to the ball.
Correct.
Guy's
a pick machine.
But I think a full season with a healthy Corey Coleman, a full season with a healthy and newly dedicated Flash Gordon.
Yes.
He could be decent.
He can be decent.
And that's what the Browns need. They don't necessarily need the guy at quarterback. It would be nice. But the defense, I feel, can survive if they're able to stay off the field, because the defense is good, but it cannot survive games in which it has to stay on the field for 35, 40 minutes.
Now, if you're going down that path and you're saying, like, okay, well, I think Deshaun could get it done with what we have, blah, blah, blah. Are you saying that are you saying you're not taking a quarterback with one of those 4 picks? Because I know a lot of people that if we went out and got Cousins, they still want us to take a quarterback at number 1.
Oh, if you get Cousins, there's no reason to take.
That's what I said.
No one that the Browns are willing to take at 1 or 4 at the quarterback position would be a better option to start week 1 than Kirk Cousins.
Now, they're saying draft these people and let them ride the bench behind Cousins or whoever it is you have and let them learn. Now, I can't say that if you don't get Cousins, I can't say that I want Deshaun Kaiser to be the quarterback. We draft Sam Darnold at 1 or 4, whatever it is, if he's still there at 4. And then you say, well, learn behind Deshaun Kaiser, because you're teaching a young kid to learn behind a retard. So I don't think that's a good combo. I think you take Barkley at 1, you take Fitzpatrick at 4, you sign Cousins in the offseason. Joe Thomas is doing a hell of a job trying to recruit him, and I think you have to take that road.
Now, here's the thing. Before we did this podcast, I did a little research. It was either a day or two ago on Joe's podcast with Andrew Hawkins. He said that the window has virtually closed for the Browns to get Kirk Cousins.
I did not hear that.
I'm very skeptical about getting Kirk Cousins. But if we do get Kirk Cousins, or even a veteran in general at quarterback, if Josh McCown's time in New York is up and he wants to come back into the fold with Cleveland.
Menor.
And exactly. If we have a veteran quarterback come in and we hold on to Kaiser, I have no problem with taking Saquon Barkley number 1. He is the best pure talent in this draft.
Do you like Crow?
I like Crow and I like Duke, but with Barkley, you have them combined because Crow is the power back who can fit between the tackles.
Right.
And Duke is the pass catching back.
Right.
Now, Crow has shown some flashes of catching the ball in the backfield, and Duke can sometimes weave his way in between the hashes. But if you want an every down back with the athleticism that Duke has and the power and the vision that Crow has most of the time, Saquon Barkley is your guy.
And if you get the actual running plays called, because that was a huge problem last year, was we couldn't even get running plays called.
No.
Because I'm not a fan of Isaiah. Everybody knows I'm not a fan of Isaiah. But when it came down to it, the guy just never even got his touches. Now, my plan was if you get Barkley comes in, he's your every down back. You can still have Duke come into the backfield. He can swing out of the backfield. You get him into space. You get him to make people miss, which is what he's supposed to do. And you basically just you just don't re-sign Crow. I don't even know if he's still under contract. I don't know if he's a free agent. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, he's just don't bring him back. Get Barkley, bring the power back, bring the workhorse from Penn State, get him up in Cleveland, and let him and Duke Johnson split this backfield. Because I think if you bring in the right quarterback to mesh with this offense, you have Todd Haley, who we still have to jump into Todd Haley coming in. I think he's going to be a huge acquisition that many people are still not talking about. I think Todd Haley is going to be able to transform this offense into, we're going to actually sit here now and, the biggest conversation that I've always had, me and you've talked about this all the time on Xbox, is when we're sitting here watching a Browns game, you watch it and you go, wow, I feel dumber for watching this. This was not football. You turn on a 4:00 game and you see a whole different offense. You see an offense that they run different plays. They run plays that you don't see the Browns run. It's just a whole different offense. And now you're bringing in Todd Haley, who we watched Pittsburgh play in how many 4:00 games on prime time. Why? Because, yes, they still have Antonio Brown, who is guaranteed one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He's either 1 or 2. I think he's 1A, 1B with Julio. And you have a Hall of Fame quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. You have one of the best running backs in the league in Le'Veon Bell. And the thing is yes, you can have all those pieces, but you still have to have good play calling. You still have to believe in your offensive coordinator to make those play calls. Last year, I could have told you if we had Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, and Le'Veon Bell, I still would not have confidence in Hugh Jackson making play calls. Yes, their pure talent alone would make the shitty play calls work, but I think Todd Haley really does have some very unique play calling in certain situations. I think he was a huge acquisition.
He does have unique play calling. That doesn't necessarily make it a positive, though.
That is true.
You point to both games against Jacksonville. You point to the fiasco at the end of the game with New England, whether that was Ben's idea or Todd Haley's idea.
I think that was on Ben. I really do. We've seen Ben do it before.
But that's the thing. You take away... You could say this about any offensive coordinator, really. You take away his biggest weapons, and what does he do on a play-calling basis? I just cannot get 4th and 1 against Jacksonville in the playoffs out of my head, and he calls a sweep.
Right.
Instead of letting Le'Veon Bell go through the hashes and get the first down. He tried to get too fancy with it.
Right.
And sometimes it works because Le'Veon Bell has such patience and pure ball carrier vision
right
to make plays and get 3 to 4 yards regardless.
Now I'm not trying, like, of course, I'm going to defend Todd Haley because, I just made a really good point about him, but you don't think that Todd Haley may have called that because everybody and their mom thought 4th and 1, you have Le'Veon Bell. It was almost like New England, 4th and 1 or whatever it was, goal to go against Seattle. You think Marshawn Lynch is going to get the ball going up the middle, and they throw the ball. And at first, it kind of did surprise the Patriots. And I think if I was on that defense and I'm sitting there and I see Le'Veon Bell in the backfield and it's 4th and 1, a trip to the AFC Championship is on the line, I'm expecting a handoff up the middle. But that's just me. I really was. I was sitting there and I said, handoff up the middle. They get the first down, or or if they don't because they think that the run up the middle's coming, he gets stuffed, whatever it is. I thought that's what was coming, and then I thought Ben said, I'm gonna put this team on my back and I'm gonna try this, and it didn't work.
I can't listen to Steelers talk anymore. We gotta get back. I know we went off on a tangent with Todd Haley, but let's get back to Browns draft.
Sad talk, because it's not good talk.
Yeah, that's why we went off on a tangent, I guess, subconsciously.
Well, you got to talk about a team that wins. You got to talk about at least good things that happen, because we have one win in 2 years.
And you're probably not going to like this, but there is one quarterback who I wouldn't mind if the Browns took care of other needs with their first 2 picks, and then with the ammunition that they have in the 2nd and 3rd round picks, trading back up into the 1st round to get this guy. He is even though he's rated as one of the top at his position, he's being very much so underrated.
Oh, I know who's coming. I know who's coming.
He is being touted as too small, too skinny.
Are you talking about the guy who they're talking about maybe putting at wide receiver?
Any team that drafts Lamar Jackson without the express intent of having him play quarterback should not be allowed to be in the league. Any GM that drafts him who wants to put him at wide receiver instead should not have a job in the NFL. I really do think that come 5-10 years down the road, and this is probably going to be played 5-10 years down the road by some random person and being like, wow, that guy was an idiot. But if I'm right, I'll be right. And I do think Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in this class. I think taking even if we do not get a veteran quarterback, I think taking Sam Darnold or Josh Allen, number 1, is a huge mistake.
Okay.
I think while Darnold has made some great throws, you look at his turnovers. And that can't be the entire story,
right,
but you cannot dispute the fact that he has trouble holding on to the ball for his offense.
Right,
He puts his offense in bad situations, and he put his defense in bad situations by turning over the ball so much. I think he played himself out of the 1st round against Ohio State.
I think he shit himself when he got into that game against Ohio State.
He absolutely did.
He had no idea what a nasty front 7 Ohio State really had, because everybody knows on film, just doesn't show, in game how these people are going to play. And on film, Ohio State is a mean, nasty defensive line. Then you put them in that game against USC, and they just absolutely had their way with that USC offensive line. And believe me, I understand, and a lot of people, well, you can't judge a quarterback off one game. You can't do this, you can't do that. And that was honestly the only game I did see of Sam Darnold. I have seen highlight tape. I've seen his footwork. I've seen his arm motion. I've seen all that. And I still think watching any of the highlight tape of Sam Darnold, it's still not good enough for me to sit here and say, I'm taking him with the 4th overall pick or the 1st overall pick, and I'm giving him the keys to this franchise and saying, son, in a year or 2 or whatever it is, you're going to have to lead the Cleveland Browns. I am not confident. I don't feel confident in any of these quarterbacks to do that. I've made the suggestion, which we will get into your Lamar Jackson thing on another day. We are running out of time. I will say I severely disagree with that. That we'll definitely save that for the next show. That the guarantee guy next show will be Lamar Jackson versus Paul, because that's all it's going to be is Kevin versus Paul 1-on-1 for Lamar Jackson to play in the NFL. I'm just saying I think the guy is going to be an absolute waste. I don't think you're ever going to see this guy even play in the NFL. But that will be for another show.
Can I get in one last thing?
Last statement before we say goodbye to our awesome fans.
Do you recall the last quarterback from Louisville that the Browns overlooked? That experts...
I do.
We paid $100,000 for people to tell us who's the best quarterback in this draft. And they told us it was a guy from Louisville. And we passed on him. A lot of other teams passed on him, too.
I do. And what is his name?
Teddy Bridgewater. And he was great until he got injured.
Now, how many yards did he throw for last year?
Well, 0, because he was coming
hold on. Okay. And how many yards did, let's see, Johnny Manziel throw for last year? None. How many yards has, let's say, Deshaun Kaiser? How many yards did he throw for last year? He threw for a certain amount, right? Couple thousand. You have a rookie quarterback for the Browns who played, how many, he started 15? Deshaun Kaiser started how many? He started 15?
He started either 13 or 14.
13, 14, something. He started 10 plus. So he for sure met his quota. Like if you take a guy, he should be able to play, especially your starting quarterback. So he played 10 plus. And right now, he's still looking at a job in the NFL. Not a secure job, but he's still looking at his job in the NFL. He's got some tools, right? He's got some tools. Mm-hmm. You didn't really see any injuries from him. You saw the concussion. You saw a little tic-tacky stuff, but it also was, well, does Hugh Jackson even have faith in the guy, right? Because I was sitting there almost saying, is this against Houston? They were saying, oh, well, this, that. I think he was just a full-blown healthy scratch. Hugh Jackson said, we're putting in somebody else because I need to try and get a win against the Houston Texans, and Deshaun Kaiser ain't going to give me that win. So the difference here, what I'm saying, is between all these guys, right? Between Deshaun Kaiser, Johnny Manziel, and your boy Teddy Bridgewater. When it all comes down to it, every quarterback is going to be able to survive or not survive in the NFL because of a couple things, right? And in baseball, you hear, well, a guy's going to be good because he's a five-tool player. Mm-hmm. In the NFL, you have to have size, you have to have strength, and you basically, it sounds really dumb saying this, but you can't be a little boy in the NFL. It's just not going to happen. When you're a little boy, you're going to get hurt running with the big dogs. Teddy Bridgewater, believe me, I understand it was I'm pretty sure it was non-contact injury that he had.
He did during practice before the season.
Right, and he almost lost his leg. Almost was not able to even walk again with that leg. He almost lost the leg. Teddy Bridgewater, I've seen him roll out of the pocket. I've seen him run. I've seen him do all kinds of stuff. When it comes down to it, a small body type player just won't work because they're going to get hurt. You've seen it with an RG3, and you've seen it with other players. And I'm not just saying quarterback. Believe me, even corners you see nowadays, they have to be bigger, stronger corners. The NFL has just gotten bigger, stronger every year. And that's why you've seen a Richard Sherman succeed in the NFL. He's a huge, huge corner.
And he tore his Achilles.
But when it comes to like I said, a Teddy Bridgewater, would you rather have him, or would you rather have now I'm not saying a player, I'm not saying him himself, but a player like a Brock Osweiler, who's bigger, he's got the body structure. They're not little kids. Now, Brock Osweiler is a terrible quarterback.
He's so bad.
But you don't see little people at quarterback that are terrible. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, everybody who you can think of in the NFL are not little quarterbacks. Teddy Bridgewater and that little girl from Louisville, Lamar Jackson, their arms are as big as my forearm. They're small little girls. They're not going to succeed. Lamar Jackson would get snapped in half. I don't understand where you're seeing, because you know what? Here we go. You know what? You guys got an extended show today. So my biggest thing here is you have Lamar Jackson, this little kid who has played not anything close to top tier talent, and when he hasn't looked that good. You're going to say, well, all right, well, we're going to take a running quarterback and we're going to throw him in the NFL where it's a passing league, and you're going to have to go in and say he gets put on the Browns. Say the Browns say, you know what, screw it. We're going to take Kevin's idea, and we're going to say, screw all these other quarterbacks. We're going to take this little frail guy. We're going to put him back there. You trust him taking a shot from James Harrison? No. You trust him taking a shot from any defensive tackle? No. That dude is going to get killed. He is so small, he's going to get broken in half because he's not running. You cannot run in the NFL as a quarterback. You know it, and I know it. There is never, other than Michael Vick, nobody has ever been able to come in and just dominate like they have done in college.
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton is by far the biggest difference because Cam Newton is a grown-ass man. He's a linebacker playing quarterback. Lamar Jackson is your definition of John Ross from last year, who set the new 40-yard dash time at the combine because he's a sprinter. Lamar Jackson is the definition of, I was always the best athlete on the team, and I got the ball in my hands at every time I could because I am the quarterback. It's almost like when Kyrie was in Cleveland by himself. He was the point guard, of course, because he is a point guard, but he was going to have the ball no matter what because he was the best player. Because if you're telling me right now that you would rather have the running back from Louisville run instead of Lamar Jackson, then of course you're crazy because you love Lamar Jackson. You want him to have the ball in his hands. But guess what? Denard Robinson was at Michigan. He played at a top-tier school, and he got moved to running back.
Paul,
it's a joke. You cannot succeed if you're a small quarterback trying to be in the NFL.
Paul,
not happening. Look at Johnny Manziel. You were a huge Johnny Manziel fan, weren't you?
I absolutely was, but his head was not in the right place.
And you think Lamar Jackson's head is in the right place?
I do, yes.
And why is that?
Have you seen any negative publicity from
him? Did
him?
he come back and did he win the Heisman last year like he was supposed to?
No, but he had better stats and he got robbed.
Robbed.
People don't like to acknowledge better stats because
a team with a huge quarter. I'm not saying huge in a body structure. I'm saying huge with a big time quarterback. Which, believe me, in college football, Lamar Jackson was a big time quarterback. But you're also talking about a Louisville team who's in what conference are they? They're in the
ACC, Paul.
They're in the ACC versus you have Baker Mayfield, who was in the college football playoff. Louisville ain't ever going to touch the college football playoff.
You want to talk about small boy. Baker Mayfield is a small boy.
Baker Mayfield is going to be able to go up against... who do you trust going up the middle in a one-on-one situation with a linebacker? Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield?
Lamar Jackson's going to juke this shit out of a linebacker.
No, he's not. He's not juking anybody because you can't do any of that stuff up the middle. No, if I'm saying if the game is on the line,
one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one. All right, you're doing Oklahoma. I'm for sure taking Baker Mayfield every time over Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is just a fast guy.
Baker Mayfield is Johnny Manziel 2.0.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, Johnny Manziel was never in the game. Johnny Manziel, once he won that Heisman and once he became a fan phenom at Texas A&M, that dude was complaining, saying, I can't go to class, I can't do this, I can't do that. Believe me, I understand Baker Mayfield has had that incident. He got jacked up by police officers. But the thing is when it comes down to it, he's out there every day competing for a starting job. He's out there every day in the practice field at Oklahoma tearing it up. You watched him against Ohio State. You watched him in many other games this year. Lamar Jackson, I did not see him in the college football playoff this year. I did not see him in a major bowl game either. What bowl game did they go to?
I do not recall.
And when did you see Lamar Jackson do other than highlight? Because his highlight reel is you get him the ball, you put him in space like Duke Johnson, and you make people miss, right? Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield can throw on the run. He can go up into between the tackles and actually make plays. The dude can take hits. Lamar Jackson is going to get snapped in half. Lamar Jackson is almost built. When I look at Lamar Jackson, I almost think of I'm trying to think of a good comparison other than like a John Ross. It's really just he's just a little skinny kid.
You want to compare him to RG3 so bad, but you forget that
I'll compare him to any Pat White. I'll compare him with anybody. Anybody who comes into the NFL trying to be what they were in college, going in, you cannot do it. It's just not going to happen. The NFL, because the NFL, the biggest thing to me when you talk about that is college. You get guys that are, fifth-year players every now and then, but guess what? Those fifth-year players most of the time are not going to the NFL. Where college, or where you go to the NFL, there's guys who have been there for 10 years. There's guys who have been there for 7 years. You're not facing that same, level of, there's not that big of a difference between who I'm facing. You get to the NFL, you're 21 years old going up against a 28-year-old veteran who can probably bench press your weight on a bad day. And they're faster, they're stronger, they have more football IQ to where they know full well if a guy tries to run out the pocket, it's not going to happen for them because they know what they're doing. They're not dumb college kids who are not going to be able to stick to what they're doing on defense. You see way too many times in college because it's college. You're still learning how to become an NFL player when you're at the college level. Your whole objective is to make it to the NFL. And when you're in college, you see a lot of blown coverages. You see a lot of players forgetting plays. You see everything. In the NFL, you're not going to see that.
I wish you guys could see my face right now. I'm just sat here just listening to him ramble.
Because it's true.
It's all this previous precedent. And he forgets that Lamar Jackson was one of the better pocket passers as well. You look at the stats, they do not lie.
Johnny Manziel was never ready and was never able to sit there and say, we're giving you this team, go with it. The guy, I've never had confidence in Johnny. I threw my Xbox controller when we drafted the guy. I was furious. I'm not saying I want, if we draft Baker Mayfield, okay, whatever, I still think the big objective, you get Kirk Cousins. But I'm saying in a situation between Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson, who's going to succeed? I'm putting my money on Baker Mayfield because he's got the size and strength compared to Lamar Jackson, who I would imagine Lamar's taller than him? He's probably, because Baker Mayfield's a shorter guy. He's for sure a shorter guy. So he's probably got 1 or 2 inches on him. But Baker Mayfield is actually a pretty diesel dude. Lamar Jackson is what you would look at and say, well, Lamar Jackson is going to be representing the U.S. in the outdoor Olympics next year, in the Summer Olympics. He's a sprinter. He's not a quarterback. That's my opinion on Lamar Jackson.
A guy that we have completely overlooked, which I think Browns fans should overlook because I don't think he's going to come to Cleveland. If Josh Rosen ends up going to the Giants and starts over Eli Manning, you can make a case he has potential to be Rookie of the Year. You look at the weapons that he has.
He has phenomenal weapons, if they're not hurt.
If they're not hurt. You look at what he did at UCLA with what he had there, which wasn't anything to sneeze at, but it's no Odell Beckham.
Right.
And it's no Evan Ingram.
Brandon Marshall.
And you look at the weapons that he would be throwing to. Why would you not want to say, oh, I don't want Cleveland to draft me? Because you know the Giants are right after you.
I still said from day one of, once the season ended, I said the number one quarterback who is NFL ready, I said is Josh Rosen. Mm-hmm. I have not been on the Josh Rosen bandwagon of drafting him. I don't actually want the guy, but when it comes to if a guy's playing next year, I think he's for sure the guy who's first ready. The guy's been brought up his whole career as a starter. He knows what he's doing at quarterback compared to Darnold, who has not been a starter his whole life. He's still learning how to be a quarterback. And he even said that after the Ohio State game is when he, got back to campus. He said, every day I'm still learning everything. And everybody does say, LeBron says I'm still learning No, there's a huge difference between Darnold saying I'm still learning and a player like a Rosen who's saying I'm still learning. Rosen's going to be learning how to become a week one starter and Darnold hopefully is going to be learning how to become a quarterback from a veteran wherever he does go. If it is with Cleveland or if it's with another team, hopefully it is with a veteran presence because that's what the guy needs.
Correct. That's why it's so essential, whether it's Sam Darnold or whether it's hopefully Lamar Jackson. The big takeaway is you have to have a veteran guy that whoever is the starter, be it Kaiser, be it if we draft somebody,
right,
be it, God forbid, Kevin Hogan,
right,
God forbid, Cody Kessler.
Cody Kessler is a great one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think, honestly, if we're being honest, guys, I really do think that if we're going to take Roster's advice here, I do think Lamar Jackson has a better chance of starting over Cody Kessler. I will say that.
That's right.
Because Cody Kessler is absolute dog shit. But trust me, because Hugh Jackson wanted him, right? You know, that was a great decision. That was his guy.
His guy. Kaiser was his guy too.
Right. And he was benching him because he was saying he's not ready. But that was an extended edition of the Real Sports Talk Show.
Plenty more to come.
Definitely plenty more to come with Rosser. Rosser is definitely going to be getting on the show way more. And like we said in the other one, we are definitely going to get him on full time. It's just right now we're trying to get the scheduling down with everything like that. But like always, Foisey doing a great job trying to get our stuff done, uploaded, stuff like that. So definitely big shout out to Kyle for getting everything done for us.
Foisey Lives Matter.
Foisey Lives Matter. There you go. That was Rosser for you. But we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. Rosser, who is your definitive right now? No explanation. Just who are you picking at 1 and who are you picking at 4? They're not getting. They do not sign Kirk Cousins. This is just the regular team right now. There is no Kirk Cousins. This is Deshaun Kaiser right now as your starting quarterback. Who you drafting at 1? Who you drafting at 4? Go.
You get no veteran quarterback whatsoever?
No veteran quarterback. Same quarterback situation. At number 1, the Cleveland Browns select
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. And at number 4, your Cleveland Browns select
Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward. Now, I did see that there was a report about him maybe going to the Giants. I did see that yesterday on Twitter. That was kind of interesting that I did see that, but I would not mind seeing him either.
I don't mind Minkah Fitzpatrick either.
Correct.
However, I think having an established number 1 corner is more important than adding more depth to the safety spot. And Denzel Ward is a guy who is, just like Josh Rosen, completely NFL ready, in my opinion.
Right.
With the competition that he faced, it's just like guys coming out of the SEC. Guys that are coming out of the Big Ten nowadays are NFL ready.
Right.
Especially on the defensive side. The track record of Ohio State guys alone coming out of college and just wrecking right away.
Right.
There's no reason not to take Denzel Ward.
Right.
Who is the most NFL ready and the best corner, best secondary player in this draft.
Look at Lattimore last year. Lattimore won the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely would not be opposed of bringing Denzel Ward.
That would make 3 defensive rookies of the year to come from Ohio State.
Right, that is correct. With Bosa, then Lattimore, and then hopefully Ward with the Browns. If not, hopefully Ward with somebody else. But that is all for today's show. Like always, go ahead, check out all our stuff. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube if you haven't. We do sometimes post some stuff on SoundCloud. Go ahead and give that a check out too. If you are too busy to check it out on YouTube and you're on the go ahead, check it out on SoundCloud too. Still the same name as what we have on YouTube. If you want, just go ahead and message me and I can go ahead and give you the link to the SoundCloud. But for me and Rosser and Foisey back home doing whatever he is doing, we will definitely see you next time on the Real Sports Talk Show. We'll see you later. Say goodbye, Kevin.
Goodbye, Kevin.
There you go. We'll see you later, guys.